Hi, and welcome to our Retired Nomad Adventures.
I'm Retired Rick.
And I'm Daphne, and we are a retired couple who sold everything to travel the world full-time, slow traveling about a month at a time in each location. And today we are really happy to be back to our roots and the kind of travel that we love. If you've watched the last couple of weeks, you know we've been doing some fast traveling. But now we get to slow back down and share our first impressions of beautiful Florence, Italy with you. So this is a great place for us to shift back into our normal happy gears.
And remember, when we talk about first impressions, it's just our first impressions. We've never been to Italy before. It's just what we observe, what we've noticed, and it's just walking around, and it's our first impressions. So we're not experts on anything, but we are here, and we're just going to reveal to you what we've first noticed.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that because sometimes people expect that we're experts, and we're definitely not. Definitely not. We really haven't ever been here before, and so if you're coming to Italy and you're coming to Florence, you may experience some of these things also. So let's start off with transportation, right? So we came from Venice. So we took the train from Venice into the Santa Maria Novella station, which is the main station sort of in the heart of Florence. We booked our ticket in advance, and we used the Trainline app to book that ticket. And you might think, well, you could just book your ticket at the station, and that's probably true, but we've been burned by that before. We showed up to purchase a ticket and ended up spending a lot of money on a 3-hour Uber ride because the tickets were sold out. So we recommend that you book your ticket using an app or in advance, and what we used was Trainline.
And we booked a first class ticket just because it wasn't that much more expensive, and it was nice and relaxing. The train was easy, and just note that we're so used to getting to our transportation location, like an airport or something like that, way in advance. You don't need to do that with the trains here because you're not going to get your platform number until 20 to 10 minutes before your departure time. So there's no use getting there. We got there early. We got there probably about 45 minutes early.
Rick's
and
being
we were
very generous with how early we got there. We were there about an hour and a half early.
Yeah, we're just sitting around or standing around, walking around. So you don't need to get there that early.
No, but I guarantee you, so when we leave here, we're going to Rome, and I guarantee you we'll still be at the train station early. But really, your platform isn't available until 10 minutes before. Something that we did, though, is we booked that first class ticket, and we also booked the high-speed train. So you were given the option to book a regional train. The high-speed one got us here in about 2 hours, right. And so that was nice. And then the first class ticket gave us more room for our luggage, and so that is something that's stressful for us. So on those those travel days, we're always a little nervous and stressed about whether or not there's going to be room for our luggage, and so that getting that little bit of extra room made a big difference, made it not so stressful.
And with the first class ticket, you got a snack and a drink. So
yeah, that was nice.
Was an added bonus.
Yeah, we didn't expect that, but they came around with some little treats, so that was wonderful. Once we arrived at the Santa Maria Novella train station, it was super easy to then get our transportation to our Airbnb. We just exited the station, followed the sign to the taxis, and there was a row of taxis there waiting to take us anywhere we wanted to go in the city.
And as you know, we usually try to use Uber, but in Florence, Uber is available, but it's about double the price of a taxi. What we were told was to download the app called App Taxi.
It's a little yellow square, a little yellow icon with 2 crisscrossing white arrows. So the difference, you looked up on Uber our ride from the train station to our Airbnb, and it was 60 euro versus 30 euro. So I do think that Uber is probably a little more expensive here, and there's numbers everywhere that you can call for the taxis, and they use WhatsApp, but also this app is something that people have recommended. When I was looking at accommodations for Florence, the first thing that I noticed was it's expensive. So it was really difficult to find something. We usually like to stay in the city center so that we're kind of in the middle of all the action, especially if it's our first time to a location. But truthfully, we just couldn't afford it. The prices were way too high. We're here September to October, so the weather is still really nice and properties are still in high demand. So I had to expand our search, right, and look outside of the city center and try to find something with as close in terms of walking distance as I possibly could. So I felt lucky we did find a place, and for 30 nights it ended up costing us $2,343 for a place that's about 1.5 miles outside of the city center. That was for 30 nights.
And our Airbnb is very small. There's a kitchen, kind of a living room, and then a bathroom and a bedroom, and they're all within a couple steps of each other.
Well, I'll say this. I think we shared with you before, Rick gets up early in the morning, and so he's worried that he's going to make noise when he's in bed. He gets up about 4:30, and so he tends to take himself into the living room so he doesn't wake me up. But I heard Rick snoring from the living room in the bedroom, which is highly unusual, but that's how close the rooms are to each other here. So it's very small. But it was really the star ratings here were 4.98. The hosts got great reviews. And since we've been here, we've been really happy. We do have to walk into the city center, but as it turns out, we've really enjoyed that. I think
it's nice walking to the city center. It's about a mile to 1.2 miles, 1.3 miles. And we need to move around. We need to exercise. So that's our exercise. We go out and do our thing, walk around, come back. So we're able to get at least 10,000 steps in a day. So.
Yeah. And it's funny because we have come off of some fast travel. So there's been lots of gluttonous eating. And so it does feel good to get those steps in. Also, here it's beautiful. So unless you're going up to a viewpoint, the walk is pretty flat. And so it's an easy walk. And for us, we get to walk along the Arno River, which is incredible. And then when you get to the Ponte Vecchio Bridge, you make a right and you're right in the center. And so we laughed about the idea that back in the States, we might say, walk down to the McDonald's on the corner and make a right and whatever you're looking for is there. But here we get to say, no, we get to walk along this beautiful historic river and come upon this beautiful bridge. And then we're in the middle of all the history and the art and the wonderful things that are there for us to see in Florence.
There's historical sites wherever you turn. You turn a corner and you're wowed by the amazing sights that you see.
Yeah. So we're not upset about having to walk. We will put a link to this Airbnb down below. It worked out to like $78 a night, which I felt was super lucky. I felt super happy to be able to get that because there wasn't even anything close to that. So we didn't ask for any further discounts. This price came with already a $500 month-long stay discount. Right. So I think this was a great deal. Just know that if you are interested in it, it is very small.
And the hosts are fantastic. They spent about 20 minutes with us, showed us around, gave us ideas of where to go, and they even text us the next day to make sure everything was okay. So
it asked us
great.
And they asked us, is there anything we can do to make your stay better? And so it was really nice. And we've suffered from some water pressure issues, and we don't have those here.
Nothing.
And so we would recommend this. Just know it's small, and then you have a walk into town. And then whenever we get to a new city, of course, the first thing we have to do is go shopping for those essential grocery items that we need. And luckily for us, we are really close to two separate grocery stores. And the closest one to us is called a Carrefour Express. And those are all throughout Florence. And so ours is less than about 2 blocks from us, right?
Yes.
About 2 blocks, and we can get everything we need there. The store itself is a little quirky. You kind of walk in through a hardware section.
When we say you can get anything, you can get anything.
Yeah, I guess that's right. You walk in through a hardware section and you kind of make your way up front to the store. But I want to share with you, we took a picture of our first grocery haul. And so let me share with you the groceries and what they cost. So on our first haul, we got a 4-pack of Diet Coke, a salad bag, bread, 4-pack of frozen fish, milk, 2 10-packs of eggs, milk, I said milk twice, spaghetti, sauce and spaghetti, mushrooms, onions, sliced cheese, Tabasco, sauce, and deodorant and toothpaste. And all of that was less than $60. It was like $59.37 or something like that. So I feel like the grocery costs were very reasonable.
And our next grocery store is about a half a mile away, and it's called COOP. And it's a bigger grocery store, and it's like any other grocery store. It has everything that you may need.
Well, it felt like we were back home in the States, so it felt like a proper grocery store. And it's funny because as soon as we walked in there, it felt like, I don't know. I didn't realize that I was missing. You don't realize sometimes that you're missing something until you experience it. And so walking into like all the fruits and vegetables that they had, like everything was really nicely laid out, and it was felt like a luxury grocery store.
Daphne is kind of lying about that. She did that sighing moment when she went to the wine section and saw the wine she can pick from, and then saw the price of the wine on how cheap it was.
Well, it felt like we were back in Portugal because the wine here, so we started off getting wines that were like €7, so still a really good price. But then we were like, they were delicious, and so we went down to 5, we went down to 4, and so our favorite wine is about €4, just under €4, and it is not great wine wine for €4. It's great wine, period. We've even gotten some €2 bottles of wine that are fine. But €4 is about that sweet spot for our bottles of wine.
It's really good. We haven't had a bad bottle of wine yet.
Not one. It is interesting, though, when you go to a grocery store, sometimes, you think a grocery store is a grocery store, but sometimes they handle things a little different. Like we tried to buy some cucumbers at this store, and we got to the register, and she said, oh, no, you have to have sort of scanned that, priced it yourself. And so we thought, okay, it's okay, we won't take that. Then the next time we went, we watched and observed how people do it.
And you get your produce or whatever, put it in a bag, put it on a scale, and you pick what it is. They have a touch screen, and next thing you know, you have your weight and your price coming out, sticker, you put it on the bag and take it up to the register. So, simple, easy.
Yeah, it was great. But you have to know to do it.
You have to know to do it.
Yeah, and also it was interesting because everything on the screen is in Italian, but pictures are very helpful. So we were able to find our produce items by the pictures. And so we felt very, we felt like locals by just doing that ourselves. So that's the grocery shopping, but also in Florence, one of my first impressions is the regular shopping here is incredible. So we've been places where shopping is good, shopping is great, I've been tempted, but what I've noticed in Florence is the quality of things are just like that next level. So you can buy beautiful Italian leather here. Florence is known for leather. So you can go into the beautiful shops. There's also like a leather area, a street market kind of area, and it just all looks and smells fabulous. So there's that. There's also on the Ponte Vecchio Bridge, you can buy gold there. All the stores there are jewelry stores, and so you can buy some really high-end, beautiful gold jewelry. There's also, we were looking for a new perfume each, and oh my goodness, like even the perfume shops are incredible and historical and beautiful. So I just feel like the shopping here is next level. Now, what is there to do here? Well, Florence is the birthplace of the Renaissance, and there is so much art, history, culture, food, wine, like all kinds of wonderful things to do here. And what's amazing, it's all sort of concentrated in one small area. Like you can walk to almost everything you want to see in Florence in about 20 minutes. The city is said to have the highest concentration of masterpieces from the Duomo, which
we have 1,000 pictures.
I'm obsessed with it. I don't know why it has resonated with me so much. It is just...
Daphne will walk, take a picture, walk 10 steps, take another picture, walk a block, take another picture of the same exact structure.
Well, the Duomo is beautiful. And so it's got everything from that all the way to Michelangelo's David. And again, like those things that take your breath away, you sort of just turn in the gallery. We turned the corner and there was David. And I gasped because... It's just incredible. So the history here and the art, it's funny. So like I always appreciate beautiful things, but here it's so steeped in history that I find myself like wanting to learn and more, not just appreciate the art, but learn about the history of the art, learn about the history of the things here. So there is so much to see and do in a very small area, like nowhere I've ever experienced before.
I agree. It is the art is amazing. The history is amazing.
The buildings,
everything here is just historical and amazing.
Yeah. Most of the places you're going to want to visit are going to come with an entrance fee, and our suggestion is really to purchase those tickets online in advance. That way you have a set time to be able to enter it, because it's busy in Florence. There's a lot of tourists, there's long lines for most things, and so purchase those tickets in advance. And then also know that most things don't open till 10 a.m. and we're kind of early birds, and so we're sometimes like strumming our fingers ready to get in somewhere.
Early birds are Americans.
Yeah, yes. So most places don't open till 10, so you can stop and get yourself a beautiful coffee and a pastry while you're waiting. We're going to keep our what there is to do sort of general and vague in today's video, just to say that it's fabulous and wonderful. But next week, we're going to take you through a great itinerary of what we would suggest you do over the course of 2 or 3 days. And I feel like most excited about this one because Florence is not an inexpensive city, but we found some creative, beautiful places for you to see and be able to see, you know, all of the things that you want to see for a very budget-friendly price. And so we're excited to share our itinerary with you next week. And just like there's so much to see and do here, there is so much delicious food and drink to consume here. And we have definitely been spoiled with all of the amazing food that there is here. And so lots of the food that you have here in Florence is eaten kind of on the go. You can get a beautiful sort of focaccia sandwich that that you can take and kind of sit on a bench or at a church stairs and sit and enjoy that and eat it. You can also get wine on the go, so they have the wine windows, and so that was a super fun experience.
And I was surprised that they don't really upsell on the wine windows. It's not bad. I think it was €8, and then you get your wine. So that wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, and you're kind of standing around on the street with everyone else, and they ask you if you want to keep the glass or don't keep the glass. And if you don't keep the glass, then you just deposit it into a little basket, and then you just kind of continue on your journey. Of course, there's plenty of places that you can sit down to eat. There's beautiful, historic, old, small, charming places to eat. There's trendy, fabulous restaurants to eat at. I just am not sure that there's a bad meal to be had in Florence.
What's amazing is I've had the pasta and the pizza, and there's just a different flavor than what we've had on our travels. I mean, it's just such a fresh and good flavor on both the pasta and the pasta and the pizza.
Yeah.
I mean, the pizza is just amazing.
Yeah, I think fresh is the word that
Yes.
and then I tried something called a ribolletta soup, and it's sort of all kinds of vegetables that is stewed over a couple of days, and oh my goodness, the depth of the flavor of that was incredible also. And then the one thing we do want to make sure that you're aware of is that most sit-down restaurants, whether they're sort of a trendy, fabulous, Instagram-worthy place, or whether they're the sweet, lovely, charming mom-and-pop places, is they typically will charge you a copperetta, which is a sitting fee. And so it's typically anywhere most places it's been €2 per person, but it can be anywhere from €2 to €4. And just know that is for your table setting. So that's for you to be able to sit at their table, to use their silverware and their place settings. It's not a tip, it is literally a table fee. So just know to expect that anytime you're sitting down to eat something. Next week for our itinerary, we're going to share our specific recommendations, but enough to say that you're not going to get a bad meal in Florence. The food here is incredible and delicious. The next thing we're always curious about is whether or not we're going to be able, for me, whether or not I'm going to be able to find my personal care items, and then you always want to know how much and where can I get my hair cut at. And so I'll start by saying that there are Sephoras everywhere, so you can get sort of those high-end products anywhere you want to go. And then there are little pharmacies everywhere, and the pharmacies tend to have all of the toiletries. So toiletries are not a problem here for the ladies.
And for me, a haircut just right outside our Airbnb was a shop, and just walking in, talking with the barber, it was €20. So that wasn't bad. And then after my haircut, we went into the center of town and saw a shop, and in the center of town, and in the midst of everything, was also €20. So I don't know if that's the regular price, or if you can get it cheaper somewhere else, but I was happy with that price.
Yeah. Beautiful barber shop, and a great haircut. You just got it yesterday. All right, so let's take a look at our overall first impressions. So what would you say your first impressions of Florence are?
I like it a lot, like walking around a lot and seeing all the historical sites, being in the museums, just observing history and learning about it, and it's just amazing. And the food, my favorite food is pasta and pizza. So where else can I get the best pasta and pizza in the world? But right now is right here. So
yes.
I'm very impressed with being here and the ease of walking around.
Yeah, ease is a good word. So I feel like for me, I was, we slipped right into Florence and it felt easy immediately. I love hearing the church bells. You kind of hear church bells all day long. I also feel like the history here has touched me in a way that nowhere else has. Like I really feel the history and want to grow and to learn and be a bigger, better person as a result of being here. And we've only been here for less than 2 weeks. And so I can't wait to see all that we experience over the next couple of weeks. So we hope this is helpful if you are coming to Florence for the first time. We do have some other videos coming your way. We have our video where we take you through what we think is going to be a great itinerary. We also, of course, do our video where we go over whether or not this is a place we could live longer term. And then in our final video from Florence, we'll be sharing all of our expenses with you. So those are all to come, and we hope as a package, those will give you a really nice introduction to Florence. So today we want to make sure to thank, we've got two couples who've given to us generously.
A couple of times before.
Yes. So we want to make sure to thank Chris and Stacy. Chris and Stacy gave us five coffees. And in Florence, we're able to really use those. Yes. And then the same with Cheryl and Patrick. Also sent us $25 for some coffee and some tasty treats here in Florence.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very appreciative.
Yes, yes. Okay, so again, we hope this was helpful, and then we hope you join us next week where we share our budget-friendly super itinerary for Florence, Italy. But until then,
bye.
Bye.